Is an AWS certification worth it?
Yes, there is value in doing AWS certification, but we have to understand it's worthless all alone. A fun fact, right? If you go ahead and try to see people who are working in AWS, it would be hard to find a solution architect specialist who is there in multiple areas.
How did you prepare for these certifications? And mainly like solution architect associate. And what is the best way to prepare?
That time, so to summarize, at that time, I had just used my existing knowledge. I tried to read FAQ of the services which we know that these services are there in the syllabus, and with all of that thing, I was able to score. I really find SysOps certification as the best certification at the associate level. If anybody is looking to go ahead and get real hands-on knowledge to start with, I always suggest people that go ahead and do SysOps. You don't need any other guidance. I mean, you don't need to go to anyone. You have all the information on internet, but then it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. If anybody thinks that there is some great guy who will come and give it to you in 2 minutes, sorry, that's not
Yeah.
possible.
So I want to like formally introduce because I actually had recently passed my AWS Solution Architect Associate certification. And in the preparation process, I discovered you basically.
Oh,
I
okay.
um, so I had like other courses that I was following, other websites I was following, but I actually like for some topics I would just come to YouTube and then look for videos which which explain that concept actually a little bit better, like
Mm.
at least in the way I understand. And for most of the AWS topics, actually, you were like in the top five. So, and I was like, who is this guy? And then it's, but then like you are, and you don't just like talk about like book definitions. So you actually go into like case studies and like even like deep topics, like for example, transit gateway. That's one topic actually. I was like, okay, I mean, nobody else talks about this, but he knows about it. And then he's explaining it in a uh, very good way. So that's how I discovered you,
Mm.
and I wanted to connect with you immediately. Um, and so yeah, so let's start with like a small introduction. If you can actually tell a little bit about yourself, just like a couple of minutes, maybe like we can start with like what do you do, how did you start your career, how when did you start getting into AWS and things like
Mhm.
that. And you can talk about your YouTube channel, your institute, or what the courses you offer. Maybe like 2 to 5 minutes if you can actually
Yep.
talk about that.
All right. So, hello everyone. My name is Mayank Pandey. I'm based out of India. I run a small YouTube channel called Knowledge India, which you guys can find out at youtube.com/Knowledge India. Um, it mostly talks about or covers, AWS topics. I've tried to do a bit of Azure as well, but I'm, lagging behind there. So, uh, about me, uh, I have, I've spent 10 plus years in the industry now, to be precise, around 13 years in the industry now, and have done different types of roles. So, have done a lot of programming to start with, developed websites, did database designing, all of those, so that type of stuff. After that, um, it was in the year 2012, if I remember correctly, I got into or I got introduced to AWS, I would say. Got to know the whole cloud thing. I had heard the name before, but I had not worked on cloud before that. So it was the year 2012 when the organization which I was working for at that time, there we had to do something on cloud, and I got an opportunity. My boss thought that I would be able to do it, so maybe he gave me the opportunity. So if your boss ever gives you an opportunity to work on something new, don't hate him, okay? Him or her, don't hate him or her. Actually, it's very good. He or she is probably trusting you. That's why they are giving you that opportunity. So I got that opportunity, struggled for some time, and then slowly learned things. Over next couple of years, developed a lot of interest in that. uh, Later on, went ahead and worked for AWS as well. Trained a lot of people, understood that probably I'm good in explaining things. Many people are able to understand it in simple terms. That uh, you know gave me the direction to start a small YouTube channel where I can try and explain things in a simple manner. Of course, AWS documentation is so great that you can go ahead and read most of things. But then many other times, if your friend or someone tells you something in an easy manner, that goes inside in a better way, and that's what I try to do with some of my tutorials as much as possible. Whatever I can do. So that's what I do. Yeah.
All right. So we can. I collected like a lot of questions for our interview. These are sort of like uh, frequently asked questions from various sources, Quora, and like my own channel, and like other like Google in general. So we can get into these questions. I think like you have answered these questions like already like in some of the videos in your YouTube channel. So what I'll do is actually for each of these, I'll try to find the videos of yours, and I'll try to put the link in the description. And that way you can, if you want any detailed answers for these things, they can go check out those videos.
Yep.
Um, for now, actually, as we go through these questions, we can keep it brief. That way,
Sure.
like people, will get the value of it. So okay. So the first question is an AWS certification worth it?
uh, yes, there is value in doing AWS certification, but we have to understand it's worthless all alone. That's what I want people to understand. Uh, so I'll try to explain that how things have changed. Okay, you take 2015 or 2016, like 5 years or 4 years, back. So what used to happen at that time? A lot of people were not certified. Uh, Very few people were certified, and at that time, it did not really matter that much when a hiring manager was trying to get somebody in. It did not really matter that much that if the person was certified or not, because anyway a lot of people were not certified. So if you were able to answer questions, if you had understanding, then it was good enough. Now what has happened in the last 4 5 years, the certification market, you know this has gone through a lot of changes. A lot of big players are there in the market now. You can get uh, training or courses which will cost you probably $10, $20, and if you go ahead and stick to that, you will pass the certification. Okay, you will pass it. And if you, like anybody, you can just go ahead and check, people are passing certification every day. But still, if you go ahead and try to ask the recruiters or try to ask hiring managers, are they getting right people? Answer is no. We are not getting the people we want. So the thing is, AWS certification, or for that matter, even Azure certification or other Google Cloud certification, certifications can only prove a part on your behalf, and that's the thing which we have to understand. In today's era, or in the time which is going on, what has happened is a recruiter would probably not pick your resume if you are not certified. So you need to be certified so that the recruiter picks up your resume. Great. But that's just the first filter which you have crossed. You will still go to hiring manager, and hiring manager is gonna grill you in the same way as he was doing earlier, right? So there is no replacement for knowledge, there is no replacement for hands-on. Yes, because of the way certification market has changed, having a certification has become another mandatory step. So the way I see it is, from the past, now you have to pass a certification, so you have to spend couple of extra dollars or money, to go ahead and have that certification. And then knowledge, of course, you need. Maybe this is short, this is long answer, but then this is what people need to understand. Having
That
certified
makes a
alone
lot of
will not
sense.
help. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if I have to add something from my side, certifications, like if you are preparing for a certification, at least take the time to understand the concepts. Just don't go read the dumps and do the certification. Like as is, like if you spend like let's say 2-3 months on a certification and then you go on about your job, you will forget a lot of things. If you're just relying on dumps, then that's just nothing. It's like, you will just have a paper or like a
Yeah.
digital paper that's actually that
Yeah.
means nothing to you actually, right?
So yeah, and unfortunately, that's the part which many of the new guys do not realize today. Or there are different scenarios in every company or everybody's career. Sometimes people get into the pressure from employer because of which they go ahead and do the certification. Let's say in my team somebody has done that, and then I'm feeling the pressure. Oh my God, that guy's certified. I'm not certified. Regular peer pressure. Why we go ahead and try to buy a costly car? Same way, the certification has also taken the same thing. Just think it is comparatively a lot cheaper than buying
Yeah.
a car.
And some people do like dozen certifications in a year, and that becomes like a center of attention on LinkedIn. And so I'm like, that's great
And
actually if they
a,
have
a
that.
fun fact, right? If you go ahead and try to see people who are working in AWS, it would be hard to find a solution architect specialist who is there in multiple areas. They have solution. I mean, so in AWS, you have got solution architect, generalist, then you are also have a specialist. So when you go for a specialist, there are the specialist solution architects. You will have people who are only for networking, who are only for databases, big data, etc., right? You cannot really have a person who is like just master of everything.
Yeah,
But then by passing certification, people start to think that now they
yeah,
know
it
everything.
gives some kind of credibility. Okay, next question.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you are certified. I believe you are because you're teaching all these things. But how did you prepare for these certifications? And mainly like solution architect associate, and what is the best way to prepare?
Right. Yes, I am certified. I did. I'll tell you how did I do my certification. I did my first certification, solution architect associate, in the year. Oh God, in the year 2015 probably. That's when I did it. So my employer that time organized or basically bought a training from AWS, official training. So as part of that training, we also got a voucher. So when you attend the training, I mean, that package was in such a way that voucher was there along with that. So we got the voucher after attending the training. After some days, I would say after 20-25 days after attending the training, I went ahead and gave the certification. At that time, I did not pass with any flying colors. Okay, I passed with some, I don't remember, but I think somewhere around 70%, something of that sort. That's what I got really. I've not talked about this before. This is first time I'm talking about it. So I was able to pass it in the first attempt, but that's what I scored. I did not score 90% or things like that. But I was um, I was working on AWS um, for for nearly, um, I would say, I got introduced. I was telling you by the end, in the end of 2012. But then actually more exposure had come, I would say, after a year or so. We were slowly we got to know things, and then effectively I was handling our environment there, uh, for the last 1.5 years. It's just that training got organized, so we attended it, but we were working on AWS even before that. And so I was somewhat confident because I was dealing with services like VPC, EC2, RDS, CloudWatch, etc. So the services which are regularly used, those things I was somewhat confident because I was doing it on day-to-day basis. So I knew that thing. I was handling the AWS account, so I knew how to set up, how does support process work, um, how to look at the detailed billing files, because within our organization, uh, for different business units, I can say, or some other body, you can say, within the organization, their infrastructure was also running, right, in our account. So at the end of the month, we used to do a charge back to those to their cost center. So that particular activity you know needed me to go ahead and look at the detailed billing file, look at the different resources by tags, etc. So such understanding I got. And there were, of course, certain services which I was not dealing with. So maybe I had heard about, I listened about that service, I learned about that service small amount in that training, and just did small amount, but I was not confident with that. After that, we also got a free um, this practice test AWS gives. So I did not spend any money, I got a free practice test as part of that training, and it took that, was able to, I think I was able to pass it somewhat. So understood. And then at that time, so to summarize, at that time I had just used my existing knowledge. I tried to read FAQ of the services which which we know that these services are there in the syllabus, and with all of that thing, I was able to score some 70% something. That's what I scored. So I hardly passed.
Yeah.
That was my status.
Yeah.
And I did not want to do more and more certification, because I never really saw a worth in doing certification. uh, After that, when I joined AWS, in AWS, of course, when you are going in the field, it is expected that at least you should be certified, right? So there was a recommendation from the management that you should also go and, of course, learn and certify yourself. So uh, we had some rough targets. So I went ahead and did the other two associates, SysOps and developer. Uh, I really find SysOps certification as the best certification at the associate level. If anybody is looking to go ahead and get real hands-on knowledge to start with, I always suggest people that go ahead and do SysOps. Developer is like real. Uh, okay, let's not comment what is what, but then I just went ahead and covered the passed the other two, because by the time I joined AWS, I was more thorough with more services, and then on day-to-day basis, we were just talking and covering those services. So I was quite confident and was able to pass through. I mean, that was my job, on day-to-day
Yeah.
basis, going and talking to
Yeah.
people. So
They
it's not
encourage
that
you
I
to do 2 certifications per year, and I think you have to write some articles also. I guess like
yeah,
some.
yeah. So
Yeah.
some such type of things are there. So I went ahead and did that, and that's all. I rested my case there. After that, I did not do it. After that, when I left AWS sometime back, I thought that, yeah, my associate certifications were expiring. So either you recertify or you go and do professional. So I thought, let's go ahead and do professional. So I first did a solution architect professional and then did DevOps professional after some time. Thought to finish off both of them. So, well, anyway, I think in terms of preparation, um, for any certification, it is very important to go through the blueprint. There are a lot of courses, of course, available, which can help you. Uh, the blueprint does not go into that much detail, right? The official blueprint, which is there on AWS website, that tells you at a higher level. Now, somebody who wants to understand what all topics to study, of course, there are a lot of courses, and most of people will go ahead and buy a course today. I don't see anything wrong in that. Okay, fine, go ahead and buy something. But when you are watching a particular video, when just do not get stuck at that point, that okay, if I watched this 5 minutes video, my work is done. That many of the topics which are talked there, it's your responsibility or learner's responsibility to go ahead and explore it further and understand how uh, in reality, how that particular concept is useful, or is it that I have just understood whatever the teacher showed me in that slide, that's what I've understood, and if anything else is asked outside of that slide, I would not be able to answer. If that is your status, or that is your situation about any of the concepts which you have studied, you are not in good shape. And if I think if any learner starts asking this question to himself or herself every time, you don't need any other guidance. I mean, you don't need to go to anyone. You have all the information on internet, but then it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. You know, uh, I think we were talking about one of the videos of Transit Gateway. The Transit Gateway video, when I made, when I made or recorded that video, it took me overall time which I took was around 6-7 hours of pure work. Okay, that was a pure work which brings out a video of 1 hour, right? And that, and this I'm saying in a scenario when I don't know this. Of course, if I know a topic, I can go ahead and record it. Even then, it takes a good amount of time. But what I'm trying to say is that somebody who has been working on AWS for this much time, in order to for that person also to understand something in depth properly, it takes that much time. And there's no shortcut for it, right? If anybody thinks that there is some great guy who will come and give it to you in 2 minutes, sorry, that's not
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. It's yeah. There's this concept of growth mindset. Like nothing will come easy. Like, things that are hard, things that are of any value, they are really, you have to work hard in those things actually. And you're right actually. Like, even if you're working as solution architect, you're probably like working with a client, designing this one particular architecture, and then like you're in this rabbit hole deep in the trenches. You're not working on all the services like they you're like transit gateway. Like, you probably, unless you're designing that particular thing at that time, you wouldn't know about it, right?
No, no. And this happens. I get to interact with solution architects from different cloud providers, and it is very normal on the ground that a particular solution architect from a cloud vendor doesn't know about some services from that cloud vendor. It is perfectly okay. And people people will be okay to say that, I don't know on this part, I'll check and come back. But but the thing is, you cannot say this for every statement. Okay, this also we need to know. Many people, you'll not believe, people, many times people write comments or send queries that, can you, I have got a job as cloud architect, can you support me? Can you support me?
Yeah,
Can you,
proxy.
yeah, proxy type of stuff? Can you just help me couple of hours every day? Such type of things happen. And uh, I really feel sad on this part, that why are you not understanding that this cannot be a sustainable model? It cannot be. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And
that's
then
what.
think about what it does to your confidence later in your career, right? You're like, when you're like starting your career and you're starting this way,
Mm.
you're not, but you're basically cheating. And then l- at some point actually you have to take care of your stuff actually, right?
Yeah, but those people who do it, they
But
they
anyway,
actually do not realize that. Yeah, let's not go there.
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
different industry altogether.
yeah. What I found useful was, during my preparation, and I'll say this as well. I didn't score like a good score and all. I got like 740. I think the passing score is 720 recently. I got 740. And then, even because it's tricky, right? Certification exams, the questions are tricky. You have to analyze the scenario, and then you have to answer questions, right? But what I found useful during the preparation was, I spent like a month watching the videos, and then I took a lot of notes. I actually like, I thought like, okay, if I like spent a lot of time, and then like wrote down every point that this guy is teaching me, I will remember that. I took a lot of notes, just not digital notes, like handwritten notes. And after a month, I actually looked at a practice question. I couldn't remember anything. I'm like, so what was wrong actually, right?
Mm.
So then I actually started doing practice questions, just practice questions. Um, and then I would actually take a concept out of a practice question, go to YouTube, and if there are any demos, like in the course that you're taking, that I was taking like a Cloud Guru course. I think most people are familiar with him. But yeah, I would actually see if there is any demo that is associated with that topic. I would do the demo, then follow the topic on, like, look for a video which talks about that topic on YouTube, and then follow along with that instructor. And then I would try to actually just do some practical stuff. And I'll also literally, I close my laptop and I walk away to like a whiteboard that I have. I try to recollect actually what was actually discussed in the video. Can I recollect anything? uh, can I retrieve anything from that? What is the essence? Because now when you're retrieving things, that's when you're really remembering, uh, trying to remember or putting it in your memory. So there is a book called Ultra Learning by
Mm-hmm.
Scott Adams. So this is
Mm,
actually, I read a lot of books. So
mhm,
that Ultra Learning is about like totally learning. How do you learn something efficiently?
mm,
He talks about like, Scott Adams talks about, uh, like, if you just like reading and rereading or watching and rewatching the videos, that's not going to help. Whereas if you try to retrieve and recollect some information, then that goes into your memory. So I actually, like, I close the laptop, I close the book, I go somewhere else, I take a notebook and pen, I try to write down what did I learn from that video.
mm.
So that is one thing that people can do to study
That
actually.
is very important. See, two very quick points with this. It is said that how do you really test that you understood something? Go ahead and try to explain it to someone. That's the point which you are saying as well. Maybe you are trying to put it on whiteboard, and the other thing could be you try to explain to a friend. If you can really explain something, then only you can say that you actually understood it. That is first thing. So that's very important. It's very, and ultimately it involves again trying to extract from your mind whatever you have understood. So that's very important. And um, in the practical things, like as we do on cloud, uh, where I feel nothing is difficult in in any of the cloud. The only thing is there is so much information and there is so much relationship which you need to understand, or not even understand. Let me say the word, you should know. There is not a lot to understand, it is more to know. And there is a lot to know actually. So it's not very difficult stuff, but you need to know a lot of stuff, that how many things are there, where what limitation is there, how a particular thing works. That's all you have to understand, or you need to know. Now, a very effective way of knowing it is that, okay, you see a video, you read a document, you do whatever, but then go ahead and do it in the console or via CLI. There is no replacement of hands-on. If you go ahead and do it once or twice, you will never forget it, because the way it gets printed in your brain after that, then you don't require anything else.
Yeah.
And
First time you
I
can follow
myself,
along, and
yeah,
the second time you close those videos and try to actually do and on
on
your
your own,
own. And
yeah,
then where you get stuck, you go back and refer to the video. you know
right, yeah, that's how. I mean, I might, many years back, when I started with AWS, I struggled a lot with a topic called VPC, right? So VPC was a thing which troubled me for around 10 days or 12 days. And like anybody else, I also thought that somebody else in the team would do it, and I would be able to just go ahead and kind of use that thing. But the person to whom I allocated that work, that guy just kept delaying it. I'm not saying maybe he was doing it purposely, but maybe he was not getting his head around that thing. And of course, I was not willing to do that. So I was also not getting into that. Things were just getting delayed. And a day came when I said, okay, let's sit and finish it off. And it took maybe 1 2 days to just read through things, to try it a couple of times. And then VPC became so clear to me that I think I've made a lot of videos, but I've never got that much appreciation which I've got for VPC video ever, on any other video. People like the ECS video as well a lot, uh, because they say that the way you have explained, that's very good. But the VPC video has been a hit. It is something which people just keep getting confused, and when they watch that video in 15 minutes, they they get it all very clear. So
Yeah.
That's what it is. Normally, if you see the cycle, this is how it works. Something difficult comes to us, we first try to delay it. We first try to avoid it because we know we don't know that stuff, and probably it is a bit difficult. We are not able to get it, so we try to avoid it. And unless until that time comes, that when we decide that okay, now it has been enough, now let us go ahead and get into it. And that part is going to be difficult because you will struggle initially, but you have to, of course, you need to find right resources, you need to put your brain, and you need to go ahead and you should not be just reading. Okay, you have to go ahead and try to do things. Only when if you go ahead and read, you will very quickly understand what is a VPC. You go ahead and divide it into subnets, but only when you actually go ahead and try to define the subnet ranges, you might understand, okay, what are the valid ranges, what are invalid ranges. It should not overlap with each other. When I go ahead and create a subnet, certain number of IPs automatically are blocked or kind of allocated internally. You will not be able to use it. What are those IPs? Such things you will get to know only then. You will not believe, people have asked me questions saying that I'm trying to define a subnet, and I have put whatever, let's say slash 30 as the CIDR range, as the CIDR block. I've put slash 30. It is not getting created. Person is not even reading the error message or instructions which are written there, that what is the maximum size and minimum size which with which you can go ahead and create. If someone is acting in this way, then that person cannot learn. It's very simple. And whether we like it or not, it is a competitive world out there, right? It might sound very harsh, but point is, nobody is going to hire you if you are not that smart. And the the bad news is, the demand for smartness is going very high nowadays. you know People want you to be that smart, that you should be doing skill A, skill B, skill C. And if you see the pattern, earlier the number of jobs were like, there were different jobs. Now all those skill sets are coming together, and companies ready to pay more. But then what they want is, there should be one guy who is able to do these two, three things, because so that my overhead of dealing with multiple people decreases. It's okay, I'll go ahead and pay something more to that one guy, because ultimately the guy who is sitting at the top, for him your technology doesn't matter. For him, you are a person whom he pays something, and he has to get output from you. So the more useful you are,
Yeah.
anyway,
I
I think.
I was just solely focusing on database, and
Mhm.
for 10 years actually, right? Just Oracle database, performance, prediction support, uh, all the things that comes around, like high availability, things like that.
Mhm.
Then now I currently work for Salesforce, and
Mhm.
I'm actually I'm having to do automation, Python
Mhm.
automation. I'm
Mhm.
having to do. I used to do shell scripting. Now it's all Python everywhere.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, and DevOps, a lot of DevOps actually, because
Mhm.
we use like open source DevOps tools.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I'm actually being stretched into other areas, new areas as well.
Yeah.
Um, and then you can actually say, why is this happening to me? I'm like I could say that actually, because I'm a database engineer, could stay in my comfort zone. Why should I actually feel like this, right?
Mhm.
Like all the time, like almost like a fresher, right? Because
Mhm.
when you enter a new area, you're just a fresher in that area,
Yes, you are.
right?
You are.
So, but instead of fighting it, actually, you have to kind of be humble and ask like very basic questions. Like, yeah, let's start with, what are the resources? Can you give me some basic documentation? Can you
Mhm.
give me like small task? Because
Mhm.
if you want this done by this deadline, give me a small task, I will jump on it. Something like that. So you have to like
Yes.
at least be open minded. And you're right actually, and it's not just me. Like, as a fact, 60% of the people, almost two-thirds, are being asked to work on things that are new to them actually. 60% of the people. That's a fact that is published by plural sites,
Mhm.
in a PDF actually, in a case study that they did. But anyway.
No,
Ah,
that's actually Bharat. There is a reason behind that. See, the the way technology shift is happening in the last at least 8 years, I would say. Things when things are getting automated like anything. I mean, of course, there was automation, but the speed at which automation has increased, that's just like anything. And then with cloud coming into picture, a lot of infrastructure automation has also happened in the IT field or in the IT industry. A lot of jobs were there just because of data center operations, hardware maintenance, monitoring, patching, this, that, so many things, right? Now all of that is gone. I mean, it's gone or it is just going away. And the way technology is shifting is even the even the infrastructure management on cloud is getting reduced. There are more and more tools which are coming out uh, from these cloud vendors, with which is constantly reducing the need, the requirement of manpower to go ahead and manage the infrastructure. And over and above that, uh, additional services are being launched which do not where customer is not expected to manage anything at all, right? So both of those things are there. For example, many years back, AWS launched System Manager, EC2 Systems Manager. That's what it was called many years back, and it was a small menu item in the EC2 dashboard. On the left hand side bottom, it was a small menu item. Today, Systems Manager is such a big, collection of different features. It has its own separate dashboard. There are so many things within Systems Manager alone. So with Systems Manager, your infrastructure as service, basically VMs, management of VMs, their regular tasks on VMs, that has become very simple. And by using Systems Manager, someone who can do a bit of automation, who can write bit of automation, can go ahead and now do things via code on a lot of VMs. So of course, monitoring was anyway, was there with CloudWatch. I mean, the point which I'm trying to say is that even for your infrastructure, the need of people for doing the management, that is reducing. And as you go with more with managed services, be it Lambda or container platforms which are there with from the cloud providers, most of the things are already managed. You do not have much to do on infrastructure, and at the end, you would either be writing you would either be writing code to manage the infrastructure, or maintain the infrastructure, to go ahead and develop the application. So a lot of people who actually say no to coding, it's actually time to wake up.
uh, so can a fresher get a job in AWS?
You mean
Like
AWS as a company,
as
or
a
in the field of
company? Yeah,
AWS?
yeah, a job
Okay.
in AWS as a
Yep.
company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good question. So answer is yes, they can get. And if you ask typically which profile, the best chances are there to get in AWS as a support engineer. I mean, if you're talking about about going as a fresher, sometimes there are chances to get an internship first, and then probably you may be able to crack, if you really show a lot of potential. You may become associate solution architect, or a lower level of solution architect. That's possible, but that's still rare. That thing is still rare there. But getting inside as a support engineer is a very good path. Now, um, in fact, in India currently, earlier the support team was quite small. Now, uh, the way AWS support works is they have their presence in different parts of the world, so that in every geography, people work only in the daytime of that geography, right? So that, I mean, it doesn't happen that if you are working in India, and because you are in support, so you are taking calls in night 1 a.m. when you are yawning and trying to answer to the customer. That would not happen. So they take care of that thing really good on that part. So they have their presence, of course, in different parts of the world, and that's how it is. Now, I've noticed this thing, that a lot of people who are either completely fresh, if AWS goes to their college, visits their college, then otherwise people even with sometimes less than 1 year experience or 1 year experience as well, they have got into AWS. And when they take you as a support engineer, they do not look they do not look for complete AWS knowledge, or they do not see that, okay, how many certifications you have, are you certified or not, you've got 2 3 certifications. Even if you don't have any certification, it would not matter really. When they're taking you at that most junior level, what they're looking forward is whether your basics are strong or not, which means, do you understand databases, how databases work, do you understand Linux or Windows operating system, permission model, general OS administration stuff, which is there in syllabus, very much in syllabus of all our engineering courses, right? It's a different thing that we do not do it there, right? um, if sometimes when I actually go back and look at my some of the books which I still have, I feel bad that we actually had everything, but we did not study anything in the college, right? So
Yeah.
most of us who are today, after so many years, we can say that. So if you are watching this video and you are still in college, or you have just passed out of college, it's better go ahead and read those things. All
Yeah.
of that is not useless, okay? Some of that
Completely agree.
might be, but not
Completely
all
agree.
of that is useless. So just to summarize that, yes, it is possible to get into that. Look for the jobs. There are a lot of support jobs which are out there, and you can try and talk to the recruiter and then take it from there. Your basics should be strong, and then of course recruiter will officially explain you what the process is. I'm not that person. But a very good thing which I'll tell you is, when you get into AWS support team, AWS, the support team or the support system of AWS, that is that is top notch. I have okay, let's not take names, but okay, uh, compared to other cloud providers, I find that AWS has the best support team. They the way they handle your question, the type of commitment which they show in answering, and the amount of confidence and the urgency with which they solve
Oh
your
yeah.
question, that's just fantastic,
Yeah.
right? So if you
Personal
get into that
experience.
team,
Personal
personal.
experience. Actually, I recently we were doing some upgrades, like VM upgrades, and we got stuck. Not exactly upgrades. We were modifying the IOPS, IOPS of disks,
Mm,
and then we started getting errors because but anyway, I don't want to get too technical, but mainly like we got stuck at a point where we need to adjust like a parameter,
mm,
AWS parameter, and then
mm,
we reached out to support. In 15 minutes, problem solved actually. Like
yep.
this person, like she figured out, um, like how what is the parameter that is blocking us, and how
Mm.
she actually reached out to probably like a level two, probably a
And got
senior
it
guy,
resolved.
and then got confirmation, and then she came back and said like, okay, I'm just modifying it. It takes 10 minutes to reflect.
Mm.
That's it
So,
actually.
so, so yeah, so that's what it is. And that's why I would say, if anybody, see, many of the times, why I just want to call out this thing, whenever we hear the word support, sometimes in our mind we think it's a low level job. I will not just go and become some support engineer. But trust me, if you are able to get inside AWS as a support engineer, it is such a good thing for your career. In your career start, you are getting into a team which actually always, that team will have hands-on knowledge. That team will always have hands-on knowledge. And as you spend couple of years in the support team, you can always transition into other roles. You can go ahead and become a TAM, you can go ahead and become a solution architect, or whichever, whatever thing you like. I mean, depends on your growth, but it's perfectly possible.
Yeah, I was just like reading some general advice, and this one guy said it's like really smart. He said, when you're getting started, work on anything. Just like
Yeah,
work hard and
yeah.
get to know the technology. Work on anything because you're getting your foot in the door and you're working on it. And then don't identify yourself as that technology. Meaning, like,
It's very
you know,
important.
I was a database guy, and it takes, I was actually like, my identity was around, I'm a database engineer. I should do only database stuff.
I'm an Oracle specialist. That's the
Yeah,
holy thing.
that's the thing, right? So, and then now I'm having to do all these other things, and then I'm like subconsciously you fight it, right? So
Hmm.
don't get, don't actually get stuck, with a certain technology. You can go.
That's very important, Bharat. I'm sure all the people who at least do computer science or IT in their college, they would have they would have fought or debated with each other on on, I'm saying AWS versus Azure. Sorry,
Mhm.
they would have debated on Linux versus Windows. Somebody says, Linux rules the world. Somebody says Windows is very cool to use. A Linux guy will say Windows is insecure. Nobody uses it outside, and all such type of stuff. We all have done that. We have debated on programming languages, operating system, everything.
Yeah.
But the reality is Linux is also there in the market, Windows is also there in the market, and guess what? We have jobs for both the people. So instead of fighting, why don't you go ahead and actually get into depth of one thing instead of just trying to say that the other guy is not good.
Okay, I think I want to just stop here. I want to
Yeah.
respect your time, but I want to give you a chance to talk about like the things that you offer, from your YouTube. I think that you have like a paid membership group. I checked out your website actually. So
Yeah.
if you talk about a little bit about the courses that you offer, and it's kind of like very interesting the way you do things. Like you just don't, here's the videos, just watch them and learn. You don't do that. You give that for free. But then behind the scenes, actually, I think you have a lot of interesting projects. People will have to actually like really do them and then stick to the deadlines and stuff. Actually, you can, if you can talk about that for a couple of minutes, and that will be a good end to this interview
Yeah,
actually.
sure. So well, primarily I try to put videos on YouTube which anybody can watch, of course. uh, People, I've been replying to comments a lot. If you go and look at my videos, I try to reply a lot of comments. I've invested a lot of my time in replying to comments, uh, but it is not possible to reply all the comments. Of course, I cannot just do it single-handedly, and people want to ask all sort of doubts whatever they have now. So that's why I started the membership program. The membership program, it has got different tiers, and depending on the tier which you choose, you get some benefits. One of the very important ones important one there is the time to interact with me. Many of the people uh, who are getting into this cloud space, they want to sometimes interact with someone who can probably guide them on the path or clear some of their doubts. uh, the thing is, uh, one thing which can never come in the recorded videos is it cannot be customized. So something which is recorded is just recorded in one way. A person can try to be as efficient as possible in that, but there's a limit to it. It can never suit everyone. And that's the thing which is unique in classroom. In classroom, when you interact with teacher, you get the opportunity to ask your doubt in the customized format as it appears in your mind.
Yeah.
The way
Especially you can talk about your
yeah.
problems
So
and how to
for the
get unblocked actually. Yeah.
yeah for the same concept, person A understands it in different way and asks a question in a different way, and for the same concept, person B asks it in a different format. And the responsibility of teacher is that he should be able to answer person A in the format in which he understands and person B in the format in which he understands. That can never be done by a video. You always require personalized interaction for that. So that's what is an important thing as part of the membership program. There are people who interact with me and get benefited on that. I also conduct uh, try and conduct a live discussion with the members every month, where we get on a Zoom call and try to discuss on things. Sometimes it get missed, but sometimes I try and do that.
They can find
uh,
more about this program where actually your website, you have a very simple blog, right?
Yeah, it's a very simple blog, but if you visit the blog at the top, there is a membership link. If you click there, you'll be able to read it. Or very simple, if you just go to the YouTube channel Knowledge India, there is a join button. If you click there, you'll find the URL there. Click, and you'll be able to read
Yeah.
the exact page. That's what it is. And yeah, that's pretty much. Sometimes I do organize a kind of hands-on training for people, which people have found it really good. The initiative is to try and help people with the real scenarios which people actually face on the ground. Uh, so people have found it really good. Many people have attended that training, but but uh, but it's not possible to just organize it one after another. So sometimes when you know time permits and things work out, I do organize it. I put the details on the website, so anybody who is just subscribed to the website will get it. Or if you are subscribed to our channel, you will get to know about it.
Yeah.
But other
Awesome.
than that, my idea is to try and put more and more videos so that people can just learn and then go ahead and do on their own as well.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. Actually, it's too late. I will let you go and I will keep in touch. Thank you so much. Actually, it's my pleasure to talk to you and to connect with you, actually. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Bharat.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time and thanks for inviting me.
All right.
See
Good
you.
night.
Bye bye.